the Lakers on an emotional night for the superstar. Let's hear from LeBron and Luka post-game.
Weird game, different game, but I can't even explain what kind of emotions were. You know, seeing the guys out there, seeing the guys I played, the closure is going to take a while, I think. You know, it's not ideal. I'm glad this game is over. You know, it was a lot of emotions, but we go little by little, you know, and every day is better.
When you move on or they move on from you, it's very emotional, obviously. It's very taxing, and, you know, it's probably a lot of things that was going on in his head that probably didn't even involve the game itself, you know. So, and with that said, I thought he handled it tremendously.
Who moved on from LeBron? Speaking of superstars, there he is, our guy, worldwide, Stephen A. Good morning, S.A. How we doing?
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? What's up, Doggy? What's up, Eminem? How you doing?
Hey,
how you doing?
All right, let's get into it. Stephen, I'll start with you. Did Luka versus Dallas live up to the hype for you?
You know what? To some degree it did, because he made a couple of big shots. Obviously, he was staring at a few folks over there in Dallas, mainly Nico Harrison and those guys. So we saw that coming. He didn't have a great game. Only shot about 35% from the field, 1 of 7 from three-point range. It wasn't a Luka performance that you expected, but there was hype before the game. He showed up on the court. He still registered a triple-double. To me, obviously, the star of the game was LeBron James, 16 points in the fourth quarter, was playing big boy ball against the Dallas Mavericks, showing what he's capable of doing, basically being a wideout on the basketball court, for crying out loud. So that was impressive to see. You sort of expected the Lakers to win this game because Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford are not in the lineup because they were hurt. Obviously, sitting on the bench and what have you. But in the end, looking at Luka, I don't want to say that you got nothing from it, that he gave you nothing. It was his 81st career triple-double, after all. But in the same breath, I anticipated a spectacular performance by him. But it wasn't for lack of effort. He tried. It's just that his shot was off. Like he said, he couldn't hit much. He missed 11 of 17 shots. So that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, when these kind of trades happen, it's when the guy goes back to the team that he was traded from instead of when he plays the team in his new arena. When Darryl Strawberry left the Mets, it wasn't a big deal when the Mets played L.A., but when he came back to New York, he had a 3-run homer. There was 50,000 people at Shea. Wow, look, the guy we missed. Yeah. There's Strawberry. Same thing here. I think the Lakers, Monica, you can look at it. I think they do play in Dallas before the end of the year. They do play in April. That will be an emotional game. April, good job. So that'll be an emotional game. And remember, the Mavericks are on hold right now. Steve just said no Anthony Davis. So it's not like they went out there. It's really more about just Luka against his own team than the conquest of the opponent. The Denver game on Saturday was a big performance. They needed to win that game. Nuggets have had their number. They basically led start to finish. He played well. The team played well. Nuggets had a 9 or a 10-game winning streak. That, to me, was far more significant than what we saw last night. It's good for him to get it out of the way. LeBron does his thing. It's a great duo. We'll see how they handle it. We'll get to that question in a second. But I think it would be much more significant when LA plays in Dallas than it was last night.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page in this one. To have a triple-double, 15 and 12 in the second category, 19, 15, and 12, definitely impacted the basketball game, right? You could tell that there was emotions in this one. Getting attacked, 2 minutes into the ball game speaks to the emotion of it all for Luka. But he had a great line, and he was impactful. To me, the thing that I took away from this one the most was how spry LeBron James actually looked in the fourth quarter due to this partnership between the two of them as it continues to get better. But I think all things considered in this one, Luka did still miss a month. He's with a new organization. There's a lot of tension here. I understand being off as far as being able to shoot the basketball, but he still had a major NBA line. And I think you got to give Dallas a little bit of credit. That game in the fourth was a little bit closer than I had anticipated it being for sure. So Kyrie Irving is doing a tremendous job of leading the way in terms of those guys playing with confidence despite the plethora of injuries that they're
no problem for me with the video. They can celebrate Anthony Davis all they want. Go ahead, Stevie. Sorry.
Well, I will tell you this. Listen, here's the bottom line. I walked away in terms of the Mavs. Kyrie Irving showed up, dropped 35. He looked spectacular and gave you indications of what could happen when Anthony Davis and Daniel Gafford get back and they're fully loaded. That's number one. You see Klay Thompson catch fire? Did you see him catch fire? I saw him catch fire. This brother with about 4 or 5 threes. He was clicking. If that Klay Thompson shows up in the postseason with Davis and Gafford healthy. I've been saying, if you remember, I did my list yesterday. Top 5 threats to the Boston Celtics. I mean, obviously, Boston Celtics is the creme de la creme. They're in the defending NBA champions. Everybody's looking at them as the prohibitive favorite. I've got Cleveland as the #1 threat to them. I've got the Dallas Mavericks at 5, assuming Davis and Gafford come back healthy to join PJ, Kyrie, Christie, Klay Thompson, those guys. Look out for Dallas. I'm not sleeping on them guys. Not at all.
I think, S.A., it's interesting that you went there because this morning you're thinking, what if the Lakers and Mavs run into one another in a first-round matchup potentially this postseason? Maybe not even first, like depending on how things shake up. I think we all agree that there's the Thunder and then a whole bunch of stuff could happen in the Western Conference. But I agree in that the Mavs on paper have the weapons to challenge the defending champions in the Boston Celtics. My one concern, though, is basketball chemistry. You do need a little bit of time to marinate. I think it's tough.
But they both need it, though, Eminem.
Who is that?
They both need it because Luka just got to L.A.
Yes.
Anthony Davis only played half with Dallas, so they both need it. To me, let me say this. Luka, believe it or not, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say that he could go out there and wet the bed and play like trash. We know that he can't, and we know that he won't because he's too gifted to let that happen. But let me be very, very clear about this. If the Dallas Mavericks and the Los Angeles Lakers were to meet in the first round, most of the pressure is on Anthony Davis. See, Luka's the future. The Lakers got Luka, and Luka's got a decade to do his thing. Mm-hmm. Anthony Davis is no spring chicken. Now, he's no senior citizen, but he's no spring chicken either. And obviously, Dallas was just, I'm talking about as a city, as a fan base, they were just depressed, pushed to depression over Luka departing. So Anthony Davis, if they're in the first round and they go up against the Los Angeles Lakers, there will be pressure on no one more than Anthony Davis to show up and ball the way he is capable of doing so. Because if you traded Luka, everybody's already miserable over that. But then for Luka to take you out and to outplay Anthony Davis in the process, oh my Lord, I can't imagine how bad things would be under those circumstances. So again, Anthony Davis is the key. That brother got to play like a monster. And I'm not talking about just against the Lakers because he's got to do it through and he's got to help deliver a chip to Dallas. But I'm saying especially against Luka, he's got to show out with the Lakers as the opposition in order for anybody to be able to stomach any of this. Oh, my Lord, the pressure that will be on Anthony Davis.
He's got to play. He never plays, including at times in the postseason. Let me
in the playoffs he does, though, Doggy.
Well, he missed out one series. Remember,
he
missed out one series when he was with Phoenix, and he couldn't play, and he left, and then Phoenix beat him in 6 games. So he has gotten hurt in the postseason.
He's played the last 2 seasons.
He's played the vast majority of his playoff series.
Listen, he is